like to call to order the meeting of August 18, 2015. Would you all please stand for the pledge of allegiance and invocation?
Lord, we acknowledge your presence among us tonight, and we pray for your guidance during this meeting. Give our council members the wisdom to work in the best interest of everyone in our community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here.
Sauer?
Here.
McBain?
Here.
Schloneker?
Here.
Challenger? Here. Simpson?
Here.
Blakely?
Here.
Willard?
Here.
Blaisdell?
Here. You all received the meeting minutes for the July 21st meeting. Were there any errors or omissions? Not, will stand as presented. I have a proclamation to read this evening. I received an email probably 4 months or so ago from a woman whose husband had prostate cancer, and she decided to start this mission to try to see how many cities in the state she could get to start recognizing it publicly. And so I told her that we would gladly oblige, and figured that September is National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, so I thought we'd read this to bring some attention to it. Whereas prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed non-skin cancer in men and the second leading cause of cancer deaths in men. And whereas this year approximately 220,800 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in the United States alone, one man every 2.38 minutes, and roughly 27,504 men die annually from the disease, one man every 19 minutes. Whereas 1 in 7 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer, African American men are at the highest risk for the disease with a rate of 1 in 5. African American men are 2.4 times more likely to die from the disease. And whereas education regarding prostate cancer and early detection strategies is critical to saving lives and preserving and protecting our families. And whereas all men are at the risk of prostate cancer, and I encourage the citizens of Columbiana to increase the importance of prostate screenings. Now therefore, we, the Council of the City of Columbiana, do hereby proclaim the month of September as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. We all received reports for the Columbiana Park Recreation and Cemetery Board meeting minutes on July 27th. Any comments on those? Also, the Planning Commission meeting minutes for August 11th. Any comments on those? And then last on the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting minutes for August 13th. I had one comment on that. I don't have it right in front of me, but it looked, yes I do. It looked like two separate issues at the last Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. Like maybe they had some issue with what the Planning Commission had done. I hadn't heard anything from that. Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, we're gonna look into it right now. Just saw the notes there, but it seems that we should have had a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting past couple of months referring to when we offered issued a variance for the Tucker Cove project. So that was done at Planning Commission and it should have been taken to the check out what we have to do.
Any other comments? Under recognition of persons designed to appear, first we have Crystal Sanita Boggs from the S&D Foundation regarding the Halloween 5K race for November 1st, 2015, and was the night before 5K race for December 16th, 2015.
Just have one set of maps. Looking to do the 30th annual Halloween Half Marathon, which it would be November 2nd, starting time 7 o'clock in the morning. It is a Sunday morning. We've already talked to the police department, the EMS, they're on board for the route. It's the same route we've used the previous 2 years. Really, we had about 100 participants last year. It has grown from the first year, and we are hoping it grows again this year. And that's about it, really, just looking for permission for that one. And then also the third annual, which was the night before 5K. Same course as in the prior years. Again, we've already talked to the police and EMS, and they're on board with the route that we have. Same. Had about 300 participants last year. We're hoping for about 400 this year. It is a very different race. There's not a lot of places you can run through Christmas lights, so it's got some recognition out there already. So, just looking to get permission to do those.
I noticed the typo. I think it's Sunday, November 1st.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is the first.
Crystal, I think in the past when you've marked the courses, you've used chalk, something that washes away.
Yes, everything we actually lay tape, reflective duct tape down. It's a lot of fun doing that for 13 miles, let me tell you. But we do peel it back up the same day, and we do put signs that are removable. We don't put anything out more than 24 hours in advance because they do get stolen. Last year, all of our cones and signs got thrown into somebody's pond, so that was a fun little deal that we had to come up fix last minute. But
I was pretty sure that you did, and I really appreciate that. Someone earlier this year ran a race on pretty much the same course you used over in the park in the Terra Verde area, and they painted it instead of using a temporary marker. And I don't have a real big problem with paint, except that if we had a whole bunch of different people running races on the same basic course, we would have a whole lot of markings on the sidewalk that would quickly get very confusing.
well, that and I mean, when we first did our first race about 7 years ago, we were told by council not to use anything permanent on the surfaces.
I think that's
So.
probably still the preference of council, but anyway, just wanted to double check, and I was pretty sure that you did that regularly.
Yep.
And you're planning the donations to follow this, what you did in the past?
Yeah, very similar donations. Obviously, depending on participation level, decides how much we can donate. The Halloween we've donated to our explorers the past 2 years, and would like to continue showing them the support because they do come out and volunteer for all of our events. And then the Christmas race we donated to the park, and we have also donated to our high school cross country team. So, yeah, whatever we see that needs something, that's what we try to do.
So where is the night before the 5K donation going to go this year?
Don't know yet. Don't know.
I've heard of some changes being made in the by the sports boosters, and I'm not totally familiar with it all, but I was just curious of how that would work and where it's going to go.
Well, the nice thing is with us, we can donate to very specific causes. We don't have to say, oh, well, it's going to sport boosters or this, that, or whatever. You know, as our own nonprofit entity, we can donate it however we see fit.
Someone want to make a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve both of them.
Second. Deanne?
And that usually includes a certificate of insurance.
Yeah, it's listed in here that it will be on there.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Schoniger?
Yes.
Challenger?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you. Thanks for doing it. Next, Ken Rambo.
Hello, my name is Ken Rambo. I'm a chaplain at the American Legion Post 290, an employee of East Fairfield Coal Company. And my purpose tonight is to introduce you, if you haven't already seen these flyers online or around town. These flyers are announcing an event that we are bringing to, well, kind of the venue of the street fair. Gave a great opportunity to bring this memorial to town. This memorial, it's an Iraq war memorial, and it travels very similar to that of the Vietnam moving wall. And I think I'm just going to read this rack card that I have that'll help you understand what this memorial is all about. Between May and August of 2005, 22 Marines and 1 Navy corpsman of Lima Company 3rd Battalion, 25th Regiment died in service to their country while deployed in Iraq. Though the Marine Reserve Unit was mostly from Ohio, these fallen heroes represent 7 states from Alaska to the East Coast. The panels in this memorial specifically depict the fallen 22 Marines and 1 Navy corpsman. Behind them stand the thousands of men and women who have served, fought, and died for their country in every branch of the armed forces. In addition to the KIA, the entire company is listed on the back of the panels because every member was willing and prepared to offer the ultimate sacrifice for his country. They were a family. It has been said, there is no greater love than this, than one lay down his life for his friends. As you gaze into the eyes of these men, realize these men gave their lives for us. They are our sons, brothers, fathers, and friends. The Lima Company Memorial, The Eyes of Freedom, was created as a result of a vision of Anita Miller, an Ohio artist, in which she saw the finished memorial and felt she was being asked to create it. With the help of the families of the fallen and the returned Marines, the work was created and unveiled in the Ohio State House Rotunda in 2008. As the vision foretold, the memorial now travels to tell the story of love and sacrifice as a reminder of the great price men and women are willing to pay for their country. This work is offered in gratitude for their gift, and it is our pleasure to bring this to town. Actually, this memorial now has been reproduced. It's in such high demand that it now travels in different directions all around the country. And at this moment, the director of the memorial, Mike Straley, he's attempting to put together 2 teams. It's very demanding. Mike himself was wounded in one of the attacks where his buddies were killed, so this is his life mission. We first saw this memorial at an aggregate convention we were at, very moving, and I just had mentioned that it would be nice to bring it to Columbiana. My boss went ahead and sponsored it. Tons of help from lots of people. This thing has taken on a life of its own. The Legion Riders, along with the Hogs, are putting together a bike escort that they believe they have now maybe 150 bikes, and we've got 3 weeks to go. They're going to start in Bike Town, up in Austintown, move through Austintown, Campfield, Salem, Washingtonville, and end up here. It'll be hosted at the Presbyterian Church. We have a short service Wednesday evening, an opening service, if you will. Assemble the memorial, and it will stay through the street fair. I think we're going to get a lot of people from the valley coming down and checking this out. I've had a lot of help getting this thing online, sharing it electronically. It's been, like I said, it's taken a life of its own.
You want to share again what time you think that they'll be arriving there?
Yeah, they estimate probably about 6:45 will be arriving downtown. I've already spoken with the mayor of Salem, of Canfield, and I didn't know it was Bernie Kosar Sr.
Yeah.
Yes, so, and they're gonna do all they can to get as many supporters out on the streets as possible. So, I'm gonna leave some of these flyers here and some of these cards. Anybody's willing to take them and do whatever you like. I created a Facebook page for this. It's called Eyes of Freedom Columbiana, and we have been given permission by Settler the Printer to share this electronically anywhere in any way we can. So,
Ken, I'd like to take a minute just to say thanks. I know how hard you have worked for this.
a lot of, yes, you're welcome, but there's been a lot of,
You
yeah.
should be commended for all of your efforts.
Well, the challenge was, now, of course, this is heavily supported by the Legion, but it's during the street fair too, when everybody who's doing anything in the Legion is busy at the street fair. So I'm doing things to pull volunteers wherever I can find them without pulling away from the works of the street fair too. So, it's kind of,
Ken, I might add that for those who might worry, communication has been had with all police departments of the route, including Chief Gladys. Except to talk with Chief Gladys, and he's going to work with us, trying to take care of all the traffic as they come to town. If you've never seen this, 150 motorcycles makes a lot of noise.
Unless they're all doing
Unless they're all then you don't even know we went by, right?
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else this evening who would like to address council? No, move into the manager's report.
Okay, we received notification that we were not awarded any grant money for the Mirror Lake renovation that we have been submitted to ODNR. And this year we submitted it to the Land and Water Conservation Fund. We also submitted another grant to ODNR this year to upgrade one of the restrooms of pavilion number 4. We haven't heard back from that. We might hear back from that later this fall. We did receive a letter from Columbiana Community Foundation regarding the quiet zone. It seems that they are interested in the letter is in your packet, but they suggest that the project needs more developed and more of a commitment from council. As you know, we opened up that line item for accepting donations. We also tabled the idea of hiring an engineer. And we also applied for 2 grants. So that was done. Since then, we did find out, if you recall earlier, I think it was last month or the month before, I think it was last month, we found that Omega, the first grant that we had applied for, they asked us to resubmit next year. Mainly because they need all the funds designated before they start the project. They don't want to donate a portion of it and then not the project up to us. I don't know what your thoughts are. I still haven't made it up to a couple cities up in near Cleveland, which a couple of you have expressed interest to go, so hopefully we go in the next week or so. See what they have to say about it. But we'll, continue to look for grants, and I will, if you have anything else to report back to the foundation, I'll be happy to do that.
I think we're kind of in the same boat. We don't want to commit to something not knowing the funds are there also.
And then the next, we did receive a great letter from ODOT. We have been applying for a sidewalk to run from Duquesne out to Bittersweet since 2010. And we did receive a grant. When council chose to support that, we assumed it was going to be an 80% grant. But little did we know we got an extra 15%. So we got a 95% grant, and appreciated everybody supporting that. And it takes perseverance apparently to get that. We did that. So
$340,000.
Yeah. So it's $340,000 towards the construction of that sidewalk, and that will be for fiscal year 2018. That sounds like a long ways away, but with all the engineering and everything, that's when it will be awarded. So it's exciting piece of news we have, and then encourage all of you to think about the last time we talked about sidewalks. Then you had an idea of East Park Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, my list of places that I think we desperately need sidewalks are the complete the one on Pearl Street that runs between towards the Joshua Dixon. One on East Park Avenue, and then finally that could make sense to put one on Duquesne Extension out to the high school. And we have one going out from Pittsburgh that can serve the community well. Have one going.
well.
So if any others have any ideas, we can, maybe get that together and, submit that project too, since it's, might take a few years to get. As far as the enterprise zone, we have to convene a tax incentive review council to just basically audit once a year all the enterprise zone agreements that we may have. I did put legislation on there asking you to concur with my recommendation. Mary Louise Dickey, former finance director here at Rick Noel, and there is legislation on there to do that tonight. I did meet with House and Bear regarding the 14 water line, and we also met with Dallas Dawson about 714 projects to get those projects moving. Moving on to Perkins Cemetery. The crew's been working on that, helping with the Eagle Scout project on the mini basketball hoops. And I guess there's a couple dozen geese that are being pretty persistent that we've got to get after almost every day, but it's at least it's only a couple dozen, and they seem to be getting them off the out of the park pretty quick. Our R&B met last night, and they were talking about the park renovations. And Pat Tingle reached out to me, and she thinks that sometime in September she'll be coming with the grand plan. I think the next stop is to Planning Commission, or Park Board, excuse me, and then probably to here. That LED project that will be ready next council meeting, or next council meeting. Considering going out to bid for the lights. Doug's been working on the rules and regulations for our electric department, much like the ones that we just did for the stormwater. Some things we need a lot of rules and regulations to for this department to operate the department. The street department, they completed chip seal on West Metz. Completed town cleanup, which I think went pretty well. I haven't got all the final totals, and I will have those for next meeting. But there's approximately 7 roll-offs, a little bit down from last year. The project with Nice Energy for the recycle, haven't spoke to them, but it seems that they did really well. There was a huge pile on Friday. It looked like at least a couple trucks of stuff that they got, and kind of syncing it up with our town cleanup really helped, because as we were going through stuff, we were able to keep it until Friday for them. So I did speak to Barb from the Solid Waste District about leaf bags this year. Pickup date's going to be October 17th, a little bit later than last year. They hope to do it sooner, but they have too many other commitments, and that's going to be from 9 to 3. And they've asked any volunteers from council you'd like to help distribute the bags, and any help would be much appreciated. And that's going to be at the Salem Home Depot, 9 to 3 p.m. on October 17th. Street department started painting the streets for the schools and crossings. Wastewater department, we're finishing up on that capacity management operation maintenance program. It's basically it's asset management program for whole wastewater, not only the plant itself, but also the infrastructure. And RCAP's going to plan on coming out and giving us the results of that sometime in September, I think. We're looking at some potential repairs for Manor Circle, looking into that right now. And they're working on that generator. I think they're going to pull the old one out tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, which is going to be quite a feat. Thanks pretty large. Water Department, Matt and I did meet with Arcadis since the last meeting, and I think the engineering is going well. And we're gonna get that October 2nd engineering date that we talked about. So. In the packets, I have the mayor's court report for June and July, police department report, and it's the bill list, and that's all I have on it, other than E&F.
I had one question in here. It says that you and Doug have been working with Crown Castle for the small cell antennas.
Yeah.
I got that email from them and never responded based on
Yeah,
you guys working with them.
Yeah, she sent that email out. I've since met with her. They had come to planning commission, with the concept, and talked about they're called small cell nodes, little antennas. There's going to be 3 of them that they're proposing. And we, at planning commission, we basically said to come back to council. So in the meantime, at the planning commission meeting, the aesthetics of the, they call it ground furniture that sits on the ground, came into question. So Doug and I are working on that to try to mitigate that and see what alternatives we have, including maybe even put them, we have some options, I think. We've offered, one idea was at the small pocket park there, besides old Ryan News, there's already a transformer there. Perhaps maybe we could just set the ground furniture back in behind that.
Can we speak on
Yeah.
that? I'm just going to come out 100% against it. And I think you ought to poll council to see, because to the beauty we put on Main Street for those poles, and listening to that presentation that they gave, said it only benefits a 2-block area. It benefits Columbiana basically zero.
Just Main Street.
It just, all it benefits is Main Street, and we'll put, what were the boxes? Do you remember, Dick?
They were
2 by 3
3
or
to
3 by
4, I
4?
think, are like 2 foot thick.
But to put those boxes on Main Street, to benefit Main Street, it isn't benefiting the town at all, and I'd like to see even drop negotiate with them. I think it's a scam they're pulling on us to say that it's a benefit to the town, and all it is a company. I really don't know what the benefit is, but I'd like to see the negotiation even drop. I'm just against it. We beautified Main Street, now we want to put three by 4 foot boxes, and what they're going to put up are just aluminum boxes. Yeah, they say paint them or do whatever, but I think you ought to poll council to see if they're even in favor of you people working on it. I just don't like the idea of our beautiful light poles. You put something, and I can't believe that they're putting up antennas that benefit 200 foot width. Isn't that what it was?
They had to have the 3 of them, and the recommendation was the planning commission, the question of the planning commission was, could we put these on the back alley? All kinds of telephone folk had to do that, but it'd look better with these boxes on the back alley there, and they said, no, it's too far away from Main Street. I questioned, their statement to me was that this will help with cell phone transmission during high usage areas and times like street fair. I don't know if anybody else ever had any trouble with using their cell phone on street fair, but I never have.
I never have either.
We're talking about
I think
quarter-mile distance, and they don't go much beyond there.
Well, that's why I brought this up. We did, the email I got suggested that we've been talking to them since last fall. And
That's why
we
I
didn't know about it.
If you're, if nobody's in favor of putting boxes on Main Street, I think you have to stop negotiating. It's done. You're not interested.
And I know too, Bull, that when they come before planning commission says, we as planning commission can't give you permission to put those things on top of the pole. it has to be the city council that grants that permission. And planning commission didn't give them the yay, nay, or anything, it says, better go see the council.
I just don't like it. 3 by 4 foot boxes hanging on poles downtown. We even moved our electric box, you know, trying to hide it,
Yeah,
the
and-
pocket park they're gonna make.
And that's what I'm trying to,
But I,
look at for some alternatives that they may be able to tuckle behind that same exact
my
transformer.
question is it any benefit to the city to do, to work with them?
This is, you know, new technology that's coming, and coming everywhere.
But we even asked, or whoever we've been asking questions, said it only works for 200 feet. And who's it gonna benefit? On Main Street, they have Comcast for internet, they have, and I've never,
Listening
Columbiana
in,
doesn't have a cell phone void. Now, if you were down in East Palestine Country Club or somewhere, yeah, but I don't think we have any void that's gonna help.
they were talking about like an increasing data bandwidth on for cell reception, not on for phone calls, but for data low speeds. But again, they were offering, guess what, $400 and some dollars a month, $500 a month. The guy acted like.
As the year,
No, that was,
Yeah,
you know, we have a law firm that represents us in such cases, pole attachments. And that they're actually the ones that are reviewing the agreement right now, and I expect to hear back from them, I believe, tomorrow. But each pole that they were attached to, you know, would be a fixed cost. And then,
per year.
there's 2 things that they want to do. There's fiber that they need to run to these units. And then it goes to these,
Fiber optics.
yeah, fiber optics.
Wouldn't they have to run, like chew up the sidewalks and everything?
No, they would run them just like our Comcast cable up there.
So that we would have wires going to these streetlights then.
There would be wires right on our electric poles.
Fiber optic.
Yeah, fiber.
I know, but it would be,
They would
we
be
got
using-
underground electric, it would be going to the wire.
They would be going to 60 different poles in the city, you know, per pole. And then these 3,
What are they really trying to do?
well, I have other material that was not presented at the planning commission, and I was curious why that wasn't presented to you, or to them in their packets, but I will be happy to get that to you out tomorrow.
Because running fiber is a whole lot,
I mean, it is a big project, and they're moving, you know, if this company, you know, for whatever reason leaves, there'll be another company right behind them wanting to do the same thing.
Good, maybe they'll pay more.
Maybe the,
Well, that's where our law firm will represent us well, and,
anyhow, if it comes up, I'll vote against it for Main Street. I don't want 3 by 4 foot boxes hanging on poles up down Main Street.
I feel the same way. I don't see any reason at all why they couldn't put it in the alleys on either side of Main Street. They may have to use more units to accomplish the same coverage, but, so what? It's not our problem. I'd say no to Main Street.
We spend millions of dollars to be by Main Street, and then we let them hang 3 boxes on there.
I heard they want to put them down on the sidewalk.
We had our choice of on the sidewalk or up in the air. Either way, it's bad.
Either way, it's ugly, yeah. I personally would like to know if it's truly going to be an advantage to the citizenry. Could this possibly be the beginning of a community-wide Wi-Fi or something like that?
They said no.
No.
They said Wi-Fi doesn't even run through these
They said
channels.
no Wi-Fi.
So
It's all focused on data, and they sell data.
But it sounds to me like if they're running fiber, there's more to it, because that has nothing to do with.
I can
Well,
get
you
you,
gotta connect the units to the.
I can get you another report if you can deliver it Monday with everything that they've given me, and,
I'd like a straw vote that we want those on Main Street, but they should keep going forward and negotiate with them. For Main Street.
yeah, I would, I guess I'd like to give you a full report on Monday.
I'd like to see a full report. Go
Let
ahead.
me see a full report. I will lobby for no boxes on Main Street.
Okay.
Don't ever forget it. And explain what benefit it has to the city, or if the benefit is to that company.
Well, the benefits to the company because it improves their ability to sell data.
And
It's
they're not
a-
willing to pay very much to do
And,
this.
and they charge for it. I mean, I have a hotspot that I pay, you know, when I use it, something like $50, $80 a month to use it for,
Couple hundred eggs.
I think it's like 5 megs, something like that, it's not a whole lot.
I
But
got-
it's 5 gigs. It's like 5 gigs, yeah.
I got off track, go ahead.
We need to know more, how's that?
This is the only reason I brought that up.
Sure.
I don't
Yeah,
want
that's
to
good.
just keep going and us paying for something that no one's for. And she made it sound like we were very far down the road.
Well, my question is why, after they were at the plan commission, he was supposed to address council. He's never been here.
We told him to come back when he was
When
ready. And I think
really, when the agreement was, you know, after our attorneys had fully reviewed the
Okay.
agreement.
Are we paying an attorney to do this?
Yes. Then we need to.
They better be paying us a lot of money for each of these units then.
They will pay for all attorney fees, and all fees, including, you know, my time that I've spent on this project, you know, we would put that in such agreement. So,
But they won't pass if we give them the bonds off, right?
what's that?
We tell them we're done, then they won't pass.
Okay. Any other comments on that? You need a motion to concur with the city manager's appointment of Mary Louise Dickon and Rick Noel to the Tax Incentive Review Council.
So,
Second.
Any comment? Deanne?
McBain?
Yes.
Schoniker?
yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes?
Becker?
Yes.
Sauer?
Yes.
Next, we have this discussion of parking on East Park Avenue in regards to the no parking that was painted on the curb in front of Mercantile. I had originally wanted to have a special meeting a month ago and we couldn't get everybody together at the right time, and I went out of town. I wanted to have a discussion to try to figure out the best way to handle this, because where I'm at from a court standpoint is I will not find anyone guilty of parking in front of that place. I can't do it. I think that getting rid of these parking zones, that the parking there is bad for the entire city, and it's the only thing that I have in my capability to try to prevent us from running business out of town. And I'd like to see us as a council reverse this ordinance that was brought up from the 50s that blocks parking there, and then turn around and redo an ordinance still making parking on the rest of East Park to 14 no parking zone. I wanted to get council's thoughts on that so that we can figure out a way to write this out.
Well, I don't think you can rescind one ordinance without having the other ordinance ready to pass at the same time, because you don't want to sit for a week or two where parking's suddenly allowed all over East Park. And I think it would be a better approach to amend the ordinance if that was the approach the council took. But I think there's other considerations that have to be considered as well. The safety issue is what brought this all up originally from Dan's perspective, and I think that's still an important issue to consider. And so far, everything that we've been told is that it's not particularly safe to allow people to park there without doing something major. We have a proposal that suggests it could cost someplace in the order of $20,000 to put in bump outs and so on to allow additional space for parking. But if we do it for this merchant, many others are going to come to us and ask us to do the same thing. I think we set a very dangerous precedent by spending taxpayers' money to do something like that. And, you know, and even just the idea of changing parking, there are other businesses on East Park and West Park, other places. What's to stop them from coming and saying, gee, we would like to do it as well? And I'm also concerned, since this was a requirement of the state, would we need state approval to rescind that ordinance, even though it's no longer a state route, since that was the original condition of the funds and everything that we received. So I just think there's a whole bunch of issues here that are very, very difficult to deal with, and I don't know what the right answer is. But simply repealing the ordinance and then writing a new ordinance, I think it's more complicated than that.
Lance, I think you have some new figures, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Can you give those?
Yeah, I was approached by a contractor that has offered, and it was actually today, met with him today, offered to donate some of the materials and time to do part of it. And I've looked at everything as far as to do the proposed bump in that was approximately $16,000. I've got the estimated cost down to 5 to 7 if the city does as much as they can, and this contractor donates his time and efforts. And that's really the only thing new that I've got. But I thought that was nice that he offered to do that. So it would be just as proposed by Hausenberg originally, the original bump in, if you will. If you recall, that was 2 parking spots with a little space in between them to get that. I guess that's the news of the day.
As far as it's repealing the 1950 ordinance, done a lot of thinking about that. And years back, Dan made an explanation to me about sovereign immunity. And if I understood it right, Dan, if there's a pothole on North Main Street and somebody hits it, has a problem, that's their problem. But if somebody tells the city there's a pothole, and the city's aware of that pothole and hasn't done something about it in a reasonable amount of time, people could sue the city. As far as parking in front of that building, I'd like to see the parking spaces as well. I parked there. I wasn't aware there was no parking. But I believe now, since we, the council, the city, and half the people of Columbiana are fully aware that it's a safety hazard against recommendations, against an ordinance, and we don't do something but like what we have done, I believe if somebody has an accident there now because the car parked at the front, I think our sovereign immunity is out the window. And at such time, we're leaving the city wide open for a lawsuit. I believe a bump out, a bump in, wherever you want to call it, if we can come up with that. I'm definitely not in favor of spending $16,000 for 2 parking spaces, because these folks out here pay that too. We give the lady a couple options, she's not willing to change her way of doing business. I'm in favor of the parking spaces too, but not spending $16,000.
It's down to 7.
Okay, so it's still $7,000, a lot of money for 2 parking spaces, and I agree with Dick. How soon are we gonna do something for somebody else? I think, Ted, I just thought of something. Railroad Street. Dave Flynn decided he needed parking on that street, so he called a contractor in and made a place so he could park there. He took care of this, and of course, I'm sure this lady can't do that herself. Anyhow, I don't want to see us hanging out there taking the chance. If we can figure out some other way, but as far as saying, oh, go ahead and park here, I can't, I think we're in trouble if we do.
Don't we just as much open up the city to a lawsuit because in writing, we told her she had parking there?
No, I concur with a lot of what's already been said, and I was going to say it myself, but I just want to give you a hypothetical example. I think everybody in here realizes that a Ford style side pickup is 8 feet wide. Some cars are less wide, and many trucks are wider. That street's 32 feet across. If you allow parking on both sides of the street, imagine what happens when one of those pickup trucks is going east, another one's coming west. 32 feet is filled. The risk is obvious and unacceptable.
Nobody suggested both
I
sides.
understand that people do park on the other side on occasion. There are mail trucks, there are FedEx trucks. We created a situation, and the observation that originally brought this to a head, the safety of the traveling public, was well thought out and well reasoned, and it still exists. When this ordinance was passed in 1950, the traffic on East Park Street, East Park Avenue was nil compared to what it is today. I mean, it's exponentially higher today than it was in 1950, but the street's the same width.
What
So
year
you're-
what year did the trucks come through?
That was about 1954, 55 when the bypass
So
was
there would be
made.
a lot more traffic back there
Not necessarily.
then. Trucks.
Truck traffic, yes, but as far as, I believe in the last 8 to 10 years, the traffic in Columbiana has tripled, quadrupled maybe,
Every truck on Route 7 came through Columbiana.
around 14.
Yeah, around 14.
I'm not talking about truck traffic, I'm talking about traffic on that street. It's exponentially greater than it was in 1950. And you must remember that the prohibition was passed in 1950. In 1955, the council saw fit to allow the church to park there for 3.5 hours on Sunday morning only. In 1971, council saw fit to prohibit parking that would restrict passage lanes to 10 feet or less. That's exactly what happens in this situation, because half of that roadway is less than 16 feet. There's no question that there's not sufficient room to pass if there's someone parked in front of that store. You would have to cross the center line, depending upon the size of the vehicle and where it's parked. And we've also touched on the proposition that council also passed in 1974, a requirement that businesses, their employees, and their suppliers not be permitted to park on the street. Public parking is prohibited. So for all of those reasons, a repeal or a modification of the no parking ordinance on Park Avenue without modifying the curb would be, in my opinion, a mistake. Mr. Mayor, I must address what you said. You took an oath to uphold and defend the laws of this city. That is the law of this city. For you to sit there and say that you will not convict someone who illegally parks there,
I would
flat
have,
out wrong.
I would have to think they were guilty, and I wouldn't think they would be guilty. If the city has told a shop owner that people can park in front of their store,
That's not the law. So for you to make that pronouncement is inappropriate, and I would ask you to withdraw.
I can't.
Anyhow, get my feelings. Having been in business and been growled at for parking in the early days, bought a couple parking lots, but really didn't near match. It was mentioned that you have to do due diligence. I think the lady did do due diligence. She came to planning commission, and she also got an official of the Columbiana told her that you could park there. And I just think we have some responsibility to, because basically all you have is your word that you can park there. And I know business is tough and that it can be depressing if things work against you. And I respectfully disagree with you, Dan, about the traffic, because when the trucks in the 50s were coming through, and Dick can remember, there was truck traffic going around the square, dozens of trucks a day, so I would consider trucks much more traffic than the cars that go there today.
And wider.
Wider and bigger.
So they're in wider, you take a dual pickup truck and it's absolutely as wide as this thing line.
Yeah, but
Granted,
the
there's
semis
a
back
truck
then
here and
weren't
there
nearly
was
as
wide,
big.
but the trucks were all day at that time.
They were 32 feet long, they weren't 48 feet long.
Okay, so the trucks don't count. This was enacted in the 50s. Mr. McGuckin was the police chief. He was here when the the ordinance was passed, and he chose not to enforce the ordinance. Because I can well remember going with my dad to Co-Motors in 1958 and looking at a Ford car, because that was a big deal to me. That's why I remember parking in front of the store. We had McGuckin, we had Sumrock, Yoder, Dimitrov project. None of those chose to enforce this, so I can see why Bob Belding and Dick and everybody else thought you were allowed to park there. And I just think we gave our word, and I think we have to do some responsibility. You're only as good as your word.
That's what I struggle with, is because she was told that.
I feel differently if she wasn't, but
I mean-
it was in writing.
Yeah, if it can be done for $5,000 to $7,000, I mean, it helps. I don't know.
Go ahead.
I just, my question here is that, you know, everybody knows I'm running for council here in the fall. I've had quite a few people come up to me and say, this is one of their major concerns, and I mean, obviously, it's been discussed how many times here at council, and the pros and cons on both sides of it. My question is, has anybody looked at it from the angle of, I'm just driving down the street and I have to go left to center to get around this vehicle. I get out in an accident, I caused an accident because somebody parked in an area that is very dangerous. How many times do people hit the circle as it is? People can't traverse this area, and I'm just concerned that that angle's not even being looked at as well, is what can potentially happen to the average guy just driving down the road and that congested area. I've complained about that intersection multiple times because I can't make left-hand turns out of there. We've got parking that, I mean, a $7,000 investment. Is she giving us $7,000 in taxes back in a year? Is she giving us $14,000 or $21,000 back in taxes for her business? I mean, it's a lot of money, and there's pros and cons for both ways. I'm just saying.
To me, this isn't about her business.
Well,
This is about any business. She doesn't own that building.
well, she doesn't own the building.
She's just a
no.
renter. Has nothing to do with the business. It has to do with the fact that we already have a shortage of parking on Main Street, to me. And you've got that circle and that side of town, you've got somebody who is heavily investing in trying to make it go in Columbiana. They do their diligence, we say you can do this, and then we turn around and say, yeah, we're gonna dig up something from the 50s that for miraculously 65 years not a single person knew about, and pull it and use it to try to shut something down.
I just want to make sure that when I'm driving down the street, if I have to go left of center, that I'm not going to get cited for going left of center to not hit another vehicle that's parked there. That's,
We'll
you
give you a
know,
note.
that, I shouldn't have to go left of center to take care of my own safety as well.
Have there been many
There's
accidents?
been one.
But one is way too many.
Yeah, but listen, she backed across 2 lanes of traffic to cause that accident. She wasn't driving up the road, she backed across 2 lanes of
And that's a
traffic.
very good point, Lowell, but, you know, when you're
So
coming
there
up,
really was an
when
accident.
you're coming up that avenue, okay, and the truck was coming the opposite direction, and the person was driving the car, had to go left to center because she was parked there. That's how this whole thing started. Quite plain and simple.
Who gets the right of way? Somebody coming out of the circle, somebody coming up into the circle. I know by law who gets the right of way, but if somebody's coming in and out of that circle and somebody's coming in, you don't see necessarily. And there's a lot of angles to look at here. I think that just to say we have to do it because we made a mistake, I think we're making a mistake just to say that
You
as well.
think we owe something because she was told she could? Or don't you think you need to back up that?
I think the law speaks for itself. That's, you know, and everybody struggles and has been struggling at this
So
time.
you don't think we owe her anything because of that?
Now, I'm not saying that I think we owe her anything at all in this respect. I think she's a great person. You know, she's struggling to make her business go. We're presented with a problem, call the street is 32 and not 36.
I'll give you another safety concern too, shared with me by the police department. There's a serious problem with people traveling south on the alley beside the Mercantile. When there are cars parked in front of the Mercantile, you can't see when you're pulling out of that alley. And there was on one occasion where a gentleman was, I think, attempting to go straight across, or perhaps maybe he wanted to turn east on Park Avenue. And he was trying to peer around to look around those vehicles that were parked there, couldn't see, trying to see what was coming east on East Park. He wasn't watching what was going west, and very nearly going out in front of him, somebody coming the other way. So it creates some serious problems with regard to the traffic that comes through that alley. And I know that alley is heavily used. The other fact that is an absolute certainty, and I think you all know it, that for the most part, the business owner was the one primarily parking there. Almost every day, that was the one vehicle that was parked there. On occasion, there were some vehicles behind it, but it was primarily the business owner parking in that spot. And that wasn't prohibited under any circumstance.
And that rule would still apply if
Well, absolutely,
Or two.
but when you're talking about, there was never a suggestion made, there couldn't have been a suggestion made that the business owner could park there, because that's not part of the planning commission rules. You're talking about what went before the planning commission. So the suggestion that somehow or other, the business is damaged because she can't park there anymore is wrong.
That has nothing to do with she can park there. It's whether there can be parking there.
Well, it's just a factor.
Here's another issue for me. A week ago, for probably 6 months, I've been receiving emails from a gentleman named David Light, who has a neighbor down the road who continuously is stacking garbage outside their house. If you go down to the Y here right now at the stop sign, there are bed mattresses that have been sitting there a week and a half. I emailed it a week ago. I received this letter. I'm going to spare you the photo on Sunday of the enormous pile of garbage next to this stop sign. The attached photo shows what's left after the garbage service hauled away some of the trash this morning. Both the Columbiana political and legal leaders are proud of their enforcement. All of you have lost my vote in future elections. This guy, for 6 months, keeps sending stuff, and we don't enforce it. We're not doing anything about it. We went out this past week after this one and gave a verbal warning. How can we give a verbal warning for something that to me is egregious as allowing someone, I have pictures here of this stuff that I've sent to the police. We go give verbal warnings. This one, we don't give verbal warnings. We decide overnight after being told we're going to give verbal warnings that we're going to paint a curb and immediately start citing it. How do we pick and choose this stuff?
We did not decide overnight.
That's not true.
Quite a while before that.
The police department responded to what you're talking about. They went to visit that site, and what's happening in truth is that this particular person is putting its garbage out prior to the day it's being picked up. He's putting it out in bags, which are secure. There's never been any evidence that there were rodents or vermin or anybody getting into it. This gentleman is complaining because this fellow puts his garbage out a day or 2 or 3 days before it's picked up. Now, there is no law against that.
Today there was mattresses and other stuff. It isn't.
Here's last week, there was a couch and a mattress. This week, still the mattress.
There is no prohibition about putting your trash out early. Now, if you want to create one, that's up to you. I caution you about that because throughout this town, people put their trash out at various times. But to analogize that situation to the parking is absolutely wrong.
Back to the parking situation. That business has more than ample parking. She has permission to use the church parking lot. She has six parking spaces behind her business. And I'm sitting there trying to think of something that I do very seldom, because I don't like to do it. When I go to Walmart on a busy day, how far do I walk to go in the store? It certainly is this, it's much further than if they park behind that building to walk around. And she has the ability to open it up for people to walk in the back of her store, and she refuses to do that.
Isn't there also parking on the square itself?
Yes, Yes, it's, Ted and I went to talk to her one time. Where we parked, Ted? Lana Square.
And that parking, even if you establish it, doesn't belong to her. That parking can be used by the people across the street, it can be used by the people who use the log cabin or anywhere else. It's not her spot. So you're talking about creating 2 parking spots for somebody who has no claim to.
How did we never think this was dangerous before?
Because we didn't have somebody parking there all day long.
That-
When
that's
Shine
a
was
big
there,
thing.
there was people parked there all day, every day.
That isn't true. You know, for the last 50 years.
Yeah, people weren't parking there all day.
You don't know if they park there all day or not.
Well, I
I
know
mean, there was in and
that,
out parking. When Co Motors was there, it was parked.
Well, Co-Motors, where the log house was a lot. You could park in that lot. And I spoke to the gentleman, he said that I went to buy a car and they made me move my car off the street. Because you don't park out there, you're not allowed. So,
They didn't tell me that.
well, yeah.
because there was a-
Friday night, I wanted to see you go to take it.
I still just think it goes back to, we gave our word, we ought to try to do something about it, because you're only as good as your word. Whether, Bob was misinformed, she still was told that.
I would move we table this conversation, but we have more information about maybe getting donations or whatever for that bump back.
I'll see that.
We keep on talking about it.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I want to say is in the meetings that we approved tonight, it was stated in the last meeting that you requested that we vote on this tonight, and it still didn't make the agenda until I sent the email saying that I wanted to vote on it tonight, and all it made was the meeting minutes. It keeps just getting buried. I mean, we could table it till we're blue in the face, and it's not going to change anything. By tabling it, you're just saying no to the parking.
The only positive thing is this gentleman stepped forward and is willing to do it at a lesser price. So it's a benefit that maybe we hold off a little bit if we go ahead and do it.
Is the engineering done basically on this project?
I would say probably the third of it, maybe.
Did we spend more to work with the attorney for the cell towers? That wasn't hypothetical.
It'll be in my report.
Anyhow, come out of all this discussion, Dan, I agree with about 20% of what Dan says tonight, but I do think that you ought to rescind it. You're not going to enforce, you don't have that choice.
I would enforce it if I thought they were guilty.
Well, they are guilty because there's no parking and it's a yellow curb. That's just my feeling. I think we should do that.
I can't.
Point of order, we got a motion on the floor with a second.
Any other comments? Yeah.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes?
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Schoniger?
Yes.
You all received the bill list for August 18th. Any comments on that? No, I'll move into old business. Due to the lengthy ordinances, can I have a motion to read it by title only?
So much.
Second.
Yeah.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Schoniger?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Resolution number 15-R-483, second reading. A resolution accepting the amount and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Deanne?
Schwanneger?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Resolution number 15-R-484, second reading. A resolution accepting the amount and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Deanne?
Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Schwanneger?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Ordinance number 15-0-2832, second reading. An ordinance amending chapter 1294, sections 1294.06B3 and 1294.06B6A of the Planning and Zoning Code of the Codified Ordinances of Columbiana, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Any comment? Deanne?
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Schwanneger?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
New business. Motion to set a special council meeting on September 22nd, 2015 for the purpose of setting a public hearing on September 22nd, 2015 at 7:15 PM regarding amending section 1290.05 of the zoning code for the city of Columbiana.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Deanne?
McBain?
Yes.
Schwanneger?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
I need a motion to go into executive session for the discussion of purchase of property.
So moved.
Second.
Deanne?
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Schwanneger?
Yes.
Motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Which one you got right?
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Schwanneger?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Move we adjourn. Can I say one thing before we adjourn? Okay, quickly. The camera we have in the back, talking to Becky, it's kind of a problem. She transfers it to one, I'm not a techie, so I don't know, transfers it to one, to another, to something. And she says Lance goes back there and she has to edit it because she sees his head turning it on. And
The remote, maybe?
because she deletes
Yeah.
the opening
Right.
and so on. And I said, Becky, do they make a camera that don't? She said, well, of course. She said, of course they make one with a remote that Lance can push a button, start it when the meeting starts.
We proposed this, it was
I'm
like
talking, yeah.
$6,000.
I'm talking now, but a camera don't cost $6,000. All we need is a new camera with a remote that does it in the format.
Well, the other thing I would suggest is getting a camera with a remote, if possible, with one that also records sound through a input, or audio input on it.
This one is doing it.
This one is doing
We
it.
have, if you notice the just even the sound in here, what, the last month or so?
It's wired through.
Yeah,
It's wired through from.
Yeah, and
No,
it's,
originally it wasn't.
We fixed that.
Anyhow, if Lane's could look forward, if for a few $100s, you can buy a camera that you could control by remote instead of, she says, every time I see Lance's head, and I have to delete it from the film. Just a thought.
Is it possible to buy one that records in the proper format?
That's what she wants.
Besides,
So she's
for the remote, the proper format, and the amount of money we spend on a lot of things, and one of the things we're trying real hard to be is transparent. Why not spend a little money to make sure it's right?
I agree.
And then again, the school, or whoever does it, the same meeting's been on there for, the meeting I wasn't here, it's been on there for months.
But it is on the website where you can.
Yeah,
go to the
but they're channel 13. Why have it on channel 13 if it's not gonna be,
School starts in a week, then they'll start updating it again.
Well, I don't have cable, so I don't see it on channel 13 anyway.
well, will be.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people now that don't have cable.
I
I would
just
say
debate because I don't.
90% or 80% of the people have cable that watch it that way.
Edition is not on there.
I would say more of the older folks watch it on cable than they do on their computer.
I got about that too.
But if you choose, you may watch it on your
We sit
computer.
here.
The original camera that was watched, it was made to, it would pick up the voice.
Just
And then
flipping through.
camera by itself.
So moved.
Second.
Second.